I'm really big on actionable tips and getting to the good stuff right away. So I know that Kelly had mentioned that she really wants to know how to ace that phone screen. So we're actually going to jump right into the most important element of a phone screen, and then we'll break down everything. So I'm going to share my screen since I said that key results are the most important thing. And we're just going to look quickly at how to master a phone screen. Sounds something like this. I'm Carla. I analyze data to build and improve educational programs. I've been in education for 10 years. In 3 months, with the help of my analysis tool, 79% of students were scoring a solid 2 on their thesis statements, up from 58% at the beginning of the year. Then from there, she'd say, I'm really interested in learning more about your customer success role. That's how Carla conducted her whole job search. She strategized it around this single key result. So everyone here who's talking about making a pivot, and like, I just got an email today. Well, someone told me because I don't have SaaS experience, I only have this program experience that I can't get into a SaaS company. Not true. Carla did it. And she had not only 0 experience in SaaS, she had 0 experience in tech. She was a teacher. Unlike a lot of people in our program, she didn't even try to hide the fact that she was a teacher because she didn't have time. The reason she didn't have time is because in week 2 of Job Search Bootcamp, when she learned about this thing called a networking blurb, she went and she wrote it and she posted it. And it immediately got noticed by another Job Search Bootcamp alum in our community who had recently made their career pivot. So she went from teaching to customer success in 10 weeks. And the way she aced her phone screen and the way she got that referral and the way she conducted her whole interview strategy came down to that statement that I just showed you. And just so if you're all wondering, oh, Scratchpad must be a company that really cares about hiring Black women and, uplifting underrepresented communities. Absolutely not. Look up Scratchpad. They're one of the fastest growing SaaS companies. They're based in San Francisco. They care about revenue, guys. They're a sales enablement platform. They're fantastic. They're not biased. That's what we want to see. But no, they're not specifically on this mission to just hire underserved populations. That's not part of it. It is literally that they saw, an introduction that kind of summarized this and said, yeah, we want to talk to you. So that is just cut to the chase, really the key to acing your phone screen. But let's take a step back. I'm going to stop sharing my screen and pause in case there are any questions or thoughts anyone wants to share, because this is communal, and then we'll kind of go into the process and break it down. But I also, off the bat, want you all to know this is what you came for. Any thoughts anyone wants to share before we jump into the process? Okay, then we are going to keep going. So let's back up a moment. Why am I sharing these tips with you today? It's not because I think they're good or because I said they're good. It's because they worked 100 times. Well, it worked over, 130 times now for people to make astounding career pivots. But some of the most notable ones that I like to call out. Also, people join this to accelerate their career if they already are in tech. Some of the big career pivots. Holly had been at a gym for 10 years. Literally, that's where she was. She went from site leader to director of customer success at a startup, and she was promoted to vice president. So if she can make a pivot like that with literally 0 experience in tech, all of you where you're at today can do the same thing. And I'm not going to show you everyone's profile because we'll all get very bored quickly. But since I am so keen on key results, I'll just share one more because I also get very excited when I see these big transitions and that they are possible. But if I were to talk to someone about Holly today and hiring her, they would say, oh yeah, I'd love to talk to the vice president of customer success at Open Markets. And even when she was a director, they would say, oh yeah, I'd love to hire her. But before she joined our program, the door was slammed in her face because people saw this. She had talked about on her resume and in her statements, managing P&L budget, working closely with stakeholders and C-level. And her big statement that drove her job search, and saw the Carla used, was, after she kind of came into boot camp and boiled it all down, I led a team of 25 people to increase revenue by 36% year over year. I am simplifying it. For a lot of us, it's going to take a moment to go in and create that statement that we saw that Carla used. And it can be a little overwhelming, right? But we break down a process for doing this whole thing. So we'll come back to the basics and then we'll really go into the dynamics of acing your phone screen. Your job search is going to start with networking calls. In fact, we saw people posting in our community today, hey, my resume is getting rejected. I keep applying. Well, ATSs love to reject resumes. People like to talk to people, right? So go out and talk to people. But in a structured manner, get that key results statement down, get that elevator pitch down, and then conduct your networking calls. I'm not going to go through the entire process, but I'll share just the most important tips right here and right now. For this networking call, your goal is to get the other person talking. Do your elevator pitch that impresses them. Then, after they introduce themselves and do their elevator pitch, which they will, they'll go into that. Ask them a powerful question that gets them talking. How did you get into your field? What's the biggest challenge right now as a director of customer success? Something like that. You know, look at do the 1 minute LinkedIn glance. What should I ask this person? Talk to them for 10 minutes, make it engaging. And then stop and summarize, reflect back, and make your referral ask. Which sounds something like, well, actually, let's just take a moment and go through this. Well, actually, we did hear from Kelly. It sounds something like this. Kelly, it was great talking to you and knowing about your background in technology and construction and working with stakeholders and managing multiple projects. I know you're the kind of person I would want to work with. Hey, I saw an open role. I want to send you my resume, and a referral from you would actually mean a lot. You know, the chance to work with you would be great. That's how you ask for a referral. Most people in boot camp, actually, is anyone here who's done a networking call? Let's see. Sarah, Perul, have either of you done networking calls recently? Or Monica?
Yeah, I did that last week. I had 2 networking calls last week, which led me to follow up with the resume, and the person offered, like, there's 3 possible roles where they see me fit. So yeah, so I forwarded the cover letter and resume yesterday.
Ah, okay, you're right. So your networking call turned into an opportunity to convert directly to a referral. And did you ask for the referral, or did they offer it as you kind of?
No, as I spoke, they asked me a lot of questions about what I've done and where I've been. And so as I shared my experience, different experiences, they came up at the conclusion at the end of the conversation. I see, that there are three possible roles where they can see me as a fit.
Okay, nice. Okay, Sarah, same as Perul, you didn't have to ask for the referral. As we talk to more people in Job Search Bootcamp, the thing that I've learned is we go in equipped to make that strong referral ask, but by the time you all get there, because you led with your elevator pitch, people are pretty excited to give you that referral. So keep that in mind. And then you get that referral, and then we get to the phone screen, which is what we're going to talk about today. There are very specific tactics for mastering each stage of these interviews. I'm going to pause there, stop sharing my screen, give us a chance to breathe. There's a lot of information. Any questions, thoughts, things popping up yet? Okay.
I think, Melinda, as you've said previously, and you said it again today, which just reminded me, if the other person is doing a lot of the talking, that's good. I had one experience last summer when I interviewed. It was actually at Novartis, and I wasn't super invested, but I was really frustrated at the end of the call because it was maybe give or take 5 minutes for me to do any talking. And I thought, well, this is crappy. And I've since turned it on its head because of, what you've said and I'm like, okay, fine. If they want to do all the talking, great. And I just need to, I'm just going to go with it. So that has been a helpful reminder to me that it's, it's a balance. It's a two-way street. I mean, I had questions that I wanted to find out about them, but at the same time, I just am sort of like, let's just see where this goes. And if I still have questions, then I'll ask for another call or whatever I need to do. But yeah, so that, and also just being the idea that you've said before about, answer the question, take a pause and let them dig deeper if they need to.
I love it. Kelly, were you going to add something?
Well, I was actually just going to ask a question. How are you identifying the people you want to make network calls to? Or is that a different phone call
Okay, that's a whole thing, but we're going to review the best tips for each stage of the process. Good news. You don't have to identify the people. First, they can identify you. So that networking blurb that you saw that Carla had posted,
Yes.
post it on your LinkedIn profile. That's actually how Parul just let us know about her networking calls last week that led to referrals. That's how Parul landed those calls with the CIO and the CFO. It's how a lot of people, that's how Carla landed her referral and her interviews. That's not how it is for everyone. Some of us write our networking blurb and we post it and it's crickets for a little while. So then go and post it in different communities, find the Slack groups, the Facebook groups. And I always say it's just one tactic, the whole strategy.
Right. All right. Thank you.
Yeah. But when you do decide that you're going to go and target leaders, recruiters, employees, think of it in terms of where you would be applying to jobs, but instead of applying to jobs, you're applying to people. And you're doing that outreach directly to leaders, employees, recruiters. Remember, everyone currently working has an incentive to refer someone to an open role, even if it's not a monetary bonus, right?
Right.
Yeah. Okay.
Great. Thank you.
Definitely. Great questions. So, all right, we've posted our networking blurb. We had someone respond. We had the networking call. We sent the resume, the cover letter, and we're invited for that phone screen. The best way to master that phone screen is to have your elevator pitch down. We saw a quick example with Carla's networking blurb, but let's just think for a moment about our elevator pitch and what it looks like. The most important thing is that key result. But you do want to give a little bit of context, just a little bit. How long have you been doing this thing that you do? Doesn't have to be a job title. You can speak directly to the skill area that's most important to them and summarize your experience. Then you state your key result, and then you pass the baton back to them. Hey, and I'm really excited to learn about your role. If it's a phone screen, you might do a little bit more work to map that key result directly to the job description. So this is kind of the basic pitch template for your phone screen interview. Do a little bit more research, look at the first 3 bullet points of the job description and make sure you have something to say that shows my key result, your job description. It almost feels too easy or gimmicky once you do it, because when you do, you'll start to see results immediately. But just keep in mind that recruiters and hiring managers have looked at that job description so many times, and they have spent hours looking at resumes and looking for people who make them go, oh, there's a match. It's like brain candy. Oh, I see Tony has this experience leading teams and I see this on my job. Oh, finally, okay. So the minute you get on a phone screen, you have all the power in the world. The person talking to you wants you to be the all-star candidate. They don't want to have to continue with the rest of their phone screens. They're hoping that they're going to race to the hiring manager. We found it. We know who we're going to this is the person, you got to talk to them right away. Let's get that interview scheduled. You've got to meet Monica. You got to meet Sarah. That's what you want them to be saying. And it starts with that elevator pitch. So let's just think for a moment about our career experience and let's just go through a couple. If I ping you and you don't feel like participating, that's okay. You can just say pass. But let's see, Kelly, can you tell us a little bit about your most recent work in construction?
Sure. So right now I'm working on a bond program doing so junior PM kind of project management activities, but they're switching me into an admin role, and meeting minutes, setting up meetings, all that stuff is just not where my interest lies. I really like project management. So I want to get back into project management, and I'm looking at doing more travel. You can't do any remote work when you're in construction,
Yeah,
and opportunities for remote work are,
got it.
more
Yeah.
there in tech.
Okay, and what are these projects? How is there a big dollar amount attached to their budget or deliverable?
Sure, it's $900 million bond program for some local community colleges across 4 campuses.
Okay, and you're a junior project manager for that, you said?
They've put me in a role that's project engineer, which in the construction industry is junior project management.
We don't say junior, we say project engineer.
Okay.
Yeah, and then how many different stakeholders are you working with?
I haven't counted them, but I mean, there's the owner, there's 4 construction management firms. I'm in the office of the PMO.
Got
So the project management office. So we've got 4 construction management firms, then we've got the district itself, which is the owner.
Got it.
And then within the owner, there's multiple people. There's the finance department, there's the board of trustees.
Okay, yeah, so everyone take note of the questions that we're talking about. We're trying to define impact and scope of impact. So Kelly, what you would do is you'd kind of put all of that together into a key results statement. Any thoughts on how that might sound?
No, which is one of the reasons why I'm here. I know, Mike, I mean, I've been working for such a long time and I never collected those metrics,
How long have you been working?
Well, I mean, I've been working as project manager for over 22 years at this point,
Got it.
but
You
I
know,
never,
Yeah.
that was never in my mind, collect those metrics.
Yeah, doesn't matter. You've already got them. You just told us. So, and we're gonna, because unfortunately age bias is a thing, which obviously it shouldn't be because you clearly kick ass. We're gonna say 15 plus years or over 15 years. But you just gave us everything that we need for just the first stab at this. So your elevator pitch might sound something like, hi, I'm Kelly. I've been in project management for over 15 years. Most recently working on a $900 million construction budget across 8 different departments as a project engineer. And I'm really interested in learning more about your role.
Okay.
Pause. Make that impact statement. Okay. Sarah, how you feeling today? Can't tell if that gesture means you want to participate or not.
I was just making there. I've been on a few calls, and there's another Sarah, although I has a double R, so it might be Sarah. I've been trying to figure out Sarah. I'm doing okay today.
Okay, great. Well, we'd love to hear a little bit about you then.
Oh boy. All right. Well, I suppose that means practice my elevator pitch, which I should really know well by now. Hi, everyone. My name is Sarah. I have been in product management for just over 15 years in software and healthcare technology. Most recently, I worked at a company where I was employee number 1 and responsible for 13 pilots to make sure to obtain customer feedback and get our product rolled out on time. And I'm really excited to talk to you about the associate director and product management role that you guys have open, because I think it's a really high impact company.
Boom. You start your phone screen like that when they say, tell me a little bit about yourself. You're golden. Okay. Tony, how's it going today? We'd love to learn a little bit more about you.
Hi, it's going every day. Okay, so the issue that I'm recognizing for me personally, just contextually, is what I do now. I'm self-employed and I've been working on building my own business, and I'm not adequately metricizing my results. So I'm not very clear on how to, express those, since it's like I've been doing this for a few months now. It's kind of new. I also recently graduated with my master's. Nice job, Tiffany. But before that, I was in like the corporate world for 7 years in HR. So I'm thinking I have to figure out how to talk about my current experience, my most recent and current experience. But would it make more sense to try to highlight something, kind of more related to what I've done in a previous role, like in a corporate environment, if that's where I'm going back to?
Yeah, so it doesn't matter. It's just whatever you come up with that you feel most confident saying and really represents you. We probably could take 2 minutes right now and talk about what you've been working on to build your own business and distill it down to a key result. But your 7 years experience also already probably has a lot of key results in it. Things you don't have to do is distinguish that corporate experience versus self-employed. It's all building relative skills. And so you just want to focus in on that skill area that's most important to you. And just, oh, I've been doing this thing for the last 8 years, 10 years, whatever it is. Recently, and it doesn't matter if recently means 5 years ago.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
That's good advice. Okay.
Yeah. So I guess let's just break it down for a moment. What business have you been working on building?
Yes. So currently I'm an HR consultant, where I primarily coach a couple of my clients on how to work on their leadership development to improve their leadership skills and thereby improve the experiences for their teams. I also contribute to a number of HR and leadership forums. I have been publishing papers, that kind of stuff.
So what we want to know is, for these HR leaders that you're working with, we want to show a change, or impact. So I've been working with HR leaders who oversee organizations of X amount of people, or organizations that serve X amount of users, or that generate X amount of revenue.
Got it. Yes.
Yeah. And then whatever you can do that shows that there was an impact from your work. Supported, HR leaders to go from X point to X point so that they can best serve their organizations that, provide blah, blah, blah for hundreds of users or whatever it might be. So think about that. Yeah.
Yes, I will. Thank you.
Yeah. Monica, how's it going today?
Good. Good. Been on a lot of calls past this week, so things are getting exciting. Just happy to be here and rehear it again.
Oh, amazing. Well, we'd love to learn a little bit about you if you have the chance to introduce yourself.
Okay. Hi, I'm Monica Brigo-Wires. I've been in marketing and communications for 6+ years. Most recently, I published a Forbes article on executive thought leadership at a tech company, received 17,000 hits within the first couple of months. And I'm really excited to hear about your content strategy role and how I can make an impact at your place.
Amazing. Yes, fantastic. You're saying that in a phone screen. I am asking questions about that Forbes article, and I'm excited to talk to you. Tiffany, how you feeling today?
Hi, I'm good, thank you. Okay, that's hard.
It is tough, but yeah, and we get there slowly. But today it's just saying hi. Anything that you've been working on that you want to talk about?
Yeah, I was thinking, because I think I already faced some situations like they explained the position before. So I was thinking how I could be very straight to the point and ask oh, tell me more about the position, when most of the time they explain me before.
Got it. So when you get to your calls, someone's already told you about the position and now you're introducing yourself and you're not sure where to go because you're supposed to pass the baton back, but there's nothing to pass back. Got it. Let's save that and go into our interview strategy and see what we come up with. I do realize that it's been 30 minutes. I understand sometimes we do these sessions in just 30 minutes, but I had a little extra time today, so we're going a little bit over, but if anyone has to jump, we understand. Okay, so we're all already ahead of the game. You're gonna have your 30-second elevator pitch ready. And we already know the building blocks for that. We're gonna practice it and we're gonna feel good about it. When they ask, so they're gonna ask 5 questions typically. That's what you can expect. It's not only gonna be 5 questions because they'll ask follow-up questions and it'll turn into a conversation. But during your phone screen, you're most likely meeting with the recruiter and they're probably gonna ask the 5 standard questions. And if you're prepared for those, everything's gonna fall into place. You're gonna make that really, really great impression by introducing yourself with your elevator pitch. Sometimes people do that and the whole time they're just asking them about the key result that they shared, which is what you want. When you start with the thing you're most comfortable talking about, you own the interview because it's gonna go in that direction. The next question they're probably gonna ask is, okay, wow, you've done this great thing and now you're interested in my position at this company, why? So this is where you really go in and make sure you know those bullet points from the job description. And for the phone screen, you really just need to know the first 3 really well. And then your reason why you're interested in this position is because it gives you an opportunity to do this thing from the job description, which is important to you because you recently achieved this thing that's related to it. So you are mapping key results directly to the job description. And the way you can prepare for that is literally going in and putting those bullet points from the job description on a grid and then going through and saying, well, what have I done that's related to that? Then you build a little story around it, not for that first question on the phone screen, but for later in the interview process. If you get here and you're like totally drawing a blank, I don't know what I did that's related to that, go and look at some behavioral interview questions. They will be your prompts to help you identify those key results and get to them. So why are you interested in this role? Oh, well, I noticed that you're looking for someone to scale a community that's been growing sustainably for the last year. As I mentioned, I've been building communities for the last 10 years. In fact, I recently launched a community of 5,000 job searchers in a little over 18 months. And before that, I launched a contributor community at Almanac. And I'm really, excited to get to know your community. Key result job description. You're always playing that game of answering every question with key results. What makes this hard is we all hear these questions in terms of what we're afraid of because we're humans and that's what we do. Someone says, why are you interested in this position? You're like, they're asking because there's a gap on my resume and then they saw that one keyword that's not related to what they want. No, right? It's our story, we get to own it. And I see some people nodding. Yeah, we always hear the questions in terms of what we're afraid of, or we just hear them very literally. And it's like, well, why am I interested in this position? Well, I'm looking for a job and you guys are hiring. It's just job description, key results. Where are you in your job search? They're going to ask something along these lines. It might sound like, are you applying for other positions? Are you expecting other offers? You always want to show that you are running a good process. This is not your only option. In fact, they are lucky they are talking to you. If the truth is that you attended this session today and you haven't landed an interview in the last month and there's nothing going on in your job search, that still doesn't matter. You just answer it by saying something along the lines of, I'm actively pursuing roles where I'll have the opportunity to work closely with a community because I recently tested out some new community growth tactics, right? Again. So address the question. I'm actively pursuing roles where I'll have, and then take it right back to the first date between you and this company. Nothing else matters. Squeeze in another key result. Where are you in your job search? Monica?
Well, I'm currently speaking to a startup company right now, and I have another interview on the books in another week with Meta. So they're both similar jobs related to content, and I'm just really excited to bring that there on some impact at YouTube and Autodesk in pushing out content.
Whoa, okay. Unfortunately, I don't remember at all how you would have answered that question 10 weeks ago before Job Search Bootcamp, but wow. If you are in the position where you are actively interviewing and you're in the process, do what Monica did. Parul, where are you in your job search?
Hi, I'm actively pursuing some roles. And I have some first level contact completed, and I'm waiting to go through the next level.
Got it. Okay. So we're still hearing some of these questions in terms of here. You're actively pursuing roles, and I'm talking to the CIO of blank organization and the CFO of blank organization. Doesn't matter if you're only at the beginning of the process. They don't need to know that. Throw
Okay.
titles. Owned that with even a little bit more power. I love the fact that you're this engineer with all this experience and you're so humble, but there's a lot of power in the fact that you literally 2 weeks ago posted your blurb and now you're actively in conversations with a CFO and a CIO. Throw it out there.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. So for everyone else, until you once you get out there and do the networking and you'll land those conversations, until then, I'm actively pursuing roles where I'll have the opportunity to. And then we'll get to where Monica and Sarah and Parul are, and boy, that answer becomes even more real, right? Negotiation. We talk a lot in Job Search Bootcamp about negotiation, but it's with us throughout the entire job search process. The very first question that you will get related to salary is in the phone screen. At this point, we just want to build a good relationship around it. We're not trying hard to get aligned. We're not trying to play hardball. We're not even trying to negotiate. If anything, we're trying to move past it very quickly. They'll ask that question. If they don't ask. I do have people that come back and they say, well, I had a phone screen. No one brought up salary. And now they want me to go and talk to the hiring manager. I'm not sure I trust this company. They might be lowballing me. Then it's okay to go back and ask once you know you have the power. Just say, hey, I'm really excited to move forward. I realized we didn't check in about salary and it's important for me to be aligned. Can you let me know what you have budgeted for the role? That is fine. But most likely, you're going to hear the question, what are your salary expectations? Let's see, who have we checked in with today? Who's yeah, Kelly, how would you approach that?
So this has been tripping me up because I've had several recruiter and interviews recently. So I had been taking kind of a deferring stance and giving them what I could, just being upfront and saying, I currently make this and that's the ballpark I'm looking for. But I had a recruiter interview a couple of weeks ago when I told her my current salary. She gave me, well, she said that the salary for the role is actually $30,000 more. And so she put me down for the third. She's like, if anyone asks you further down the line, just tell them that this is the amount you want because that's what the role is paying. So There you go. I'm not really sure it's how to respond to that, because I don't want to get out of the game, but I also don't want to lowball and then get in and find out everybody else is making $30,000 more than me.
Okay. Yeah. There's so much stuff here that I want to just first point out too. Don't share where you're at.
Okay.
Never share your past salary information, but whatever your past salary information is, you should be thinking that you're going to make a big increase on that. What are your salary expectations? Looking forward to learning more about the role so I can give you an accurate number.
Oh,
Great
that's
to be
good.
aligned. What have you budgeted? Yeah, Sarah.
That's great.
Well, I just wanted to add to that, and maybe Kelly is aware of this, is that, and I don't know how recent it is, but there are many states now that actually have laws on the book that prevent recruiters from asking applicants about their current salary. So that might just be something you want to have in your back pocket too. California is the one I always remember, but there's a bunch, and you can, I mean, it's not like you want to be, negate them or get into a foot fight with them, but it's just for in your own head. That's just something to keep to yourself. And then again, using these tools that Melinda's saying. And I have always found it very helpful to turn it around and just say, well, that's a great question. And I will be adding to it since working with Melinda, but generally I've said, that's a great question. What is the range that you're offering? And then as she, will say, has in this bullet point, yeah, depending on the compensation and what more I learn as I progress through the process, I would be able to say yes to.
That's a great answer. Thank you.
Boom. Love it. I will say, if they push back, if you do your thing, hey, I just want to learn about the role, so I can give you an accurate number, would be great to hear what you have budgeted. If they push back, and the way they're going to push back, since you started it on a friendly note and you kept the relationship alive, again, let me just repeat that. So you all, actually, anyone else want to repeat some language, how you might answer that? Tiffany, what are your salary expectations?
I always try, like, before every interview, I always research, like, how much these positions are earning, for example, in San Francisco, because I'm here. So if they ask me, like, my expectation, because I'm out of the market, like I quit my job 2 years ago in another country. So I always try to figure out, like, the average in the place I am, in the place I'm applying, to give this average. But I always say that I'm open to negotiate, depend of the benefits.
Great. Okay. So don't say that anymore during a phone screen. Not until the end, but that's great that you did your research.
Okay.
But during the phone,
I don't tell about the research, but I gave, like, according to this position in like San Francisco.
great,
No.
great, but don't do it.
Okay.
I mean, keep doing the research for yourself, and I love that you are. And yes, thank you for clarifying that you don't tell them you did the research, you just did it. That's fantastic. Most people in job search boot camp have come back, and if they don't give a number, they come back, like Holly, I showed you the director of customer success earlier. She was just like, oh my gosh, I followed the script and the number that they wanted to offer was so much higher than what I was going to ask for. And Kelly just demonstrated that. She asked for 30,000 less than what was on the table. So you just never know. Also, Tiffany, what was your master's in? What roles are you going for again?
I did 2 masters. I did one in international business in London, and I finished now one in disrupt innovation.
Got it.
But
Okay.
I worked in an investment bank before as a project manager.
Okay, nice. Yeah, so, hey, I'm looking forward to learning more about the roles. I can give you an accurate number. Would be great to understand what you have budgeted. Pause. The power of the pause in the interview process for building relationships and getting information. Can't overemphasize it. But if they pass the ball back to you, again, it's going to sound very friendly, very relationship building, but they're doing it so that they can gain leverage in the negotiation. It might sound something like, hey, that's great. You know what? In fact, I'm pretty impressed that you want to learn more about the role. I totally get that. but it's really gonna help me if you could share a number so that we can move forward. Okay, wow, that person, they're really building a lot of trust. I'm like, oh gosh, I can share my number with this person. You can, but if they pass the ball back, absolutely share a number, but caveat it. Say, hey, Tiffany, yeah, I hear you. In fact, thanks for making sure we're aligned. I would be able to say yes to 100 to 125, depending on what I learn about the role. Conditional, conditional, conditional. And also give the highest range.
Okay.
Another note, if they give their range first, please hear that highest number as their admission that they are willing to pay someone that much for that role. And that's your anchor, not the lowest number, not in between. They do give, if they say, yeah, we budgeted 140 to 165 for this role, just say, 165 is within my range. I would like to move forward. Or, my range is a little bit higher than that, but I am interested in learning more about the role and I'd like to move forward. Get that high number. Your goal with the negotiation is to make sure that you don't leave money on the table. I have never had anyone be rejected because they asked for too much. 2 people have come back concerned. And let's see, how are we on time? Let me check my calendar. Okay. So 2 instances. Janae Adams, chemical engineer from Big Oil, joined us to pivot into tech. And she negotiated a 50,000 increase over what they initially offered because she said, hey, I think there's some misalignment in title. And, if this is the range you're looking for, it doesn't make sense. So they went back, they renegotiated the title. And then she realized with this new title, she should have asked for more. So she went back and she said, hey, actually as a senior blah, blah, blah engineer, I would be able to say yes to X amount. And then they halted the process. They said, we actually just renegotiated. This doesn't make sense for us to move forward. They gave her the offer. All she had to do was just say, oh, you know what? I want to let you know a little bit where I'm coming from, but I understand your reasoning. I want to move forward. I'm really excited to join the team. She did not lose the offer. Camille Martel, she had a situation similar where she asked for a much higher number. She gets a call from the hiring manager. Hey, I just talked to the recruiter. Just want to talk candidly here. Does it make sense for us to move forward? Hey, it absolutely does. I really like the team. I understand you're a startup. I'm excited to accept the offer. She accepted the offer. It was a huge salary increase for both of these women. And I admire them for going after it. And because they took that risk, we all learned from them. It is extremely unlikely that anyone is going to rescind an offer because you asked for more. I mean, I just haven't heard of it happening. So ask for that high number, let them push back and let you know when you asked for too much, right? What you want to hear is that's a little out of our range, but we'll see what we can do. What you don't want to hear is, does it make sense to move forward? Sometimes salary misalignment absolutely will happen. I know there's someone in this room where it's just true. They are they're offering way too little, and that's when we walk away, right? Or depending on where we are in our job search. Okay, the last thing they're gonna ask something about logistics. Are you able to work at our headquarters? This is not where you talk about the relocation, where you talk about remote work. This is, you just keep it simple and straightforward. Yeah, I noticed that you're based in such and such and want to talk about the relocation when we get there, but I'm open to it. It's especially not the time to talk about needing to go to that doctor's appointment on Tuesdays once a month. That's all going to happen with your hiring manager. Even if you really do have to pick the kids up every Tuesday at 4 p.m. and you need to make sure that the company is going to accommodate that, you talk about that in the negotiation, not at the beginning. Companies want to work with you. They want to accommodate you. They want to find the best candidate. And when they know you're the best candidate, they will have those conversations and it's going to be great. But if you have them too early, it's a red flag. I'm like, well, we're still building the relationship here. Why are you asking me to help you workshop your commute? You know? So keep it simple. A simple yes is the best way, but sometimes there are some things we might want to just reference. Yeah, you know, yes, that works for me. I am interested in learning more about your hybrid policy or remote work policy, whatever it might be. Just simple. Really important, what questions can I answer for you about the role? Ask questions as if you're actually trying to do the job tomorrow. Your whole goal throughout this job search process, every step of it, you are just actively trying to do the job tomorrow. I'm talking to you because I have this key result. I'm so interested. I want to do this job tomorrow. I want to do this job tomorrow. I want to do the job tomorrow. What are your questions? Yeah, you know, this job is really important to me. Can you tell me a little bit about the structure of the product org? Who would I be reporting to? How many other product managers are there? How many different product lines? How many users are using the product? Really show them that you are a serious candidate who is here to do the job. You can ask cultural questions, especially if you're talking to the recruiter who is just like so excited about company culture. They're hopping on, they're like, oh, I really, you know, I'm so excited to talk to you. I joined a year ago because these company values mean so much to me. Hey, tell me a little bit about you. If they are that person, then certainly go the company culture direction, but be smart about it. Make sure you've done a little bit of thinking. Anytime you ask a question, show some critical thinking. Like, yeah, why did you join? It sounds like you're really excited about the company culture. And what I really loved was your policy supporting parents in the workforce. In fact, both moms and dads. Some people don't understand, you know, that really meant a lot to me. I'd love to hear why you joined. Show critical thinking. That's the biggest thing. Ask questions that help you do the job tomorrow. Show critical thinking, but yes, read the room, feed off the energy of the other person. Okay. We just went through a lot. So I'm gonna pause, stop sharing my screen. Any questions pop up? Okay. You all have the playbook for acing your phone screens and a little bit for just landing those phone screens. The one thing that I will say, it's much, much easier to do when you do it with community and you have all those steps laid out. So if you're sitting here and you're thinking, okay, I gotta get this stuff out the door, you're right, but build some accountability, build some process around it. And yeah, we're just excited to have you with us on the journey. And any other last questions as we wrap up?
This Excel that you shared of all the people with Pivot, we have access to, right?
If you're in Job Search Bootcamp, I can give access. I can't give access, but you are for role, so yeah, I can send that to you.
Okay.
I can't give access publicly just because it's so many people.
Yeah, no, I understand.
Yeah.
No problem.
And if you're interested in joining Job Search Bootcamp, I'm dropping the link there. We kick off next Thursday, but we have 2 weeks of open enrollment. So if you can't be there next Thursday, you can still join the following week. Yeah, and then you get access to all of the materials and the videos and the recordings and all that fun stuff. And we are just also